Mary Mays, and I am live. I'm sorry, I just had a little bit of technical issues going live here, but it looks like I figured it out. So I am hopefully double checking here to make sure that I am live. Just because, sometimes things just don't happen like they should here on this live here. It looks like I figured it out. So I am hopefully. Okay, that seems to have worked. I am live and my audio seems to be just fine. Sorry for the echo there. I always have a little bit of technical difficulties getting this going. I think I might be a little cursed when it comes to computers, but we made it and there's a lot going on. So you see this powerful line of storms with weather radar. This is the troublemaker. And if this is your first time joining in on one of these lives, I am Weather and Radar Meteorologist Mary Mays. Weather and Radar is a weather app that's really, we aim to be your weather companion, to be very usable and easy to understand. And I think you can look at this and understand quite well what is going on, and that is quite stormy weather. And we've even had some severe thunderstorm warnings already. We've had plenty of heavy downpours, lightning with this. And we've also had some issues with tornado warnings. We're already getting damage reports as well. One storm in eastern Kentucky here. This one does have a little bit of rotation with it. There is a tornado warning on this one, and it continues to push east. And the thing I like about our weather radar is you can just hit the next 15 minutes and see where it's heading. So you'll see that this storm is going to push toward Cumberland and Kentucky and then eventually move into North Carolina, or not North Carolina, excuse me. It's going to move into Virginia. And that is something we're going to keep an eye on. So, areas like St. Paul, eventually this storm will be moving just north of you. And if it's still holding on to that rotation, it could be a risk for a tornado in your area. And then you've got all this action here stretching from northern Mississippi through Huntsville into East Tennessee. This is McMinnville. This is a lot of areas. I'm in the Nashville area, and I'm pretty familiar with Middle Tennessee, and that's a lot of lightning right there from Woodbury into McMinnville. So gosh, heavy downpours with these. Could see some localized flooding. The main threats with these storms are going to be damaging winds today, but we are also likely going to see some spin-ups, some tornadoes, a few tornadoes in play. We've already had a few tornado warnings, and there's just so much going on. You can see this is moving through southern Ohio, through West Virginia, and we're going to see this line of storms marching across the south and through the mid-Atlantic, even into portions of the Northeast today. So it's a lot to talk about, and it is a moderate risk day, which some folks are like, well, what does that even mean, really? And what we have is this scale of outlooks, and a moderate risk is a level 4 out of 5. And that means that you're probably going to have a severe weather outbreak of some sort, and that is already kind of lining up. We're seeing the indications of that. That's why this outlook is in place. And this stretches from the northeast corner of Tennessee into the mid-Atlantic, and it includes really major population areas. There's a lot of folks that live, between DC and Baltimore. Both cities are included in this. And this moderate risk also includes Charleston, West Virginia, at least part of the city, Roanoke as well. And then you have an enhanced risk, which is a level 3 out of 5, which also means you got a pretty good chance of seeing severe storms today. Slight risk as well. The enhanced risk includes Chattanooga. It includes Birmingham, Atlanta, which is a huge metro area, Charlotte, Raleigh, there's a lot of folks that live there, and Philadelphia, Scranton, Binghamton, all these cities included. And then the slight risk extends from New York City down through Columbus, Georgia, Savannah, Georgia, Charleston, Wilmington, North Carolina, and Virginia Beach. So basically, you've got a chance for severe weather across the Northeast, a good chunk of New York, down into the mid-Atlantic, all the way down into the southeast. And then you also have some severe risks out west toward, the Front Range and parts of Texas. The tornado risk. Front Range actually has a chance today to see a tornado or two, and the risk today is mainly going to be greatest along kind of the southern Appalachians here. So anywhere from, eastern Kentucky up through Charleston, West Virginia, through a good chunk of West Virginia, Baltimore, Washington, D.C. You folks are under this risk, a 30% risk or 10% risk of seeing a tornado within 25 miles of where you're at. And it could be a stronger tornado too. That can't be ruled out. But we're likely going to see a few tornadoes today. That is certainly a big concern. But the bigger concern is actually going to be a wide swath of really damaging winds. So when you get wind gusts over about 57 to 60 miles per hour, you get a lot of trees down, you get power outages, widespread power outages, and you see those hatched areas, and that means that you've got a chance of winds that are really high in that kind of hatched area with the black lines. And then you've got that bright pink, which is a 45% chance. So basically, you're going to see some gusty winds within 25 miles of where you're at. And these wind gusts include Chattanooga, up through Philly, Scranton, even Watertown, down through Columbus, Georgia, the Atlanta area. The interesting thing about this risk is just how many people it's covering, like literally tens of millions, because so many big metros are in the line of these storms. And not only is this going to cause issues with power outages, we're likely going to see some pretty big snags for air travel today, tonight, even over the next couple of days, because a lot of times what happens is, these delays and cancellations, they kind of cause a domino effect that can impact the airline industry for a little bit. So, Hartsfield-Jackson is in Atlanta. That's I think that is the busiest airport in the world. And I've gone through it many times, and I believe it. But also, too, you got Dulles up in D.C. That's another big airport. And then, even spots like Philly and New York, a lot of people connect through there or fly out of those places. So it's going to be a big issue. Charlotte's got a big airport as well. That's a big hub. So there's going to be some big impacts from this, even if you don't see a ton of tornadoes. However, I do think we are going to see a few tornadoes. But the winds are going to be just as impactful as tornadoes would be. So damaging winds with this. Also, hail is a big concern. Now, there's likely going to be some big hail on the Front Range. And, there's kind of two sections of severe weather. Our biggest focus, of course, has been, the Southeast, the Mid-South, the Mid-Atlantic, even into the Northeast. But Front Range, you're going to see some action today as well. So I showed you the current view, and this is our weather radar. We have a lot of different ways to kind of show you what's going on. If you want to see just rain here, this is a great tool. This is our rain radar, and the bright purple indicates heavy rain. So you can see where it's raining the heaviest, and this is really useful if you're about to go driving. You can see wind as well, and here where I'm at, notice we're gusting into the 30s, 32 miles an hour in Nashville, and I saw that on my app on my phone, and I was like, oh goodness. So I'm going to go tie a few things down because they need to be tied down. But if you take a look at the big picture, you can see the winds and everything. And also if you have outdoor plans or, a sport, our lightning radar just shows you just where the lightning strikes are happening. And that really comes in handy as well. So there's a lot of different tools you can use through our app. If you don't have it already on your phone, it's really easy to download. And I'm going to go back here to the categorical risk because you see where the highest risk is today. The storms haven't made it there yet. DC up through Baltimore. So this is getting going. In the next few hours, this is going to start to come to a head. And these storms are going to continue into tonight. So let's go ahead and walk you through. You see 2, 3 o'clock. This line is pushing east. And you just get rounds of thunderstorms. And this continues into the overnight. Even areas like Philly and New York at 11 o'clock, it's going to be storming for you folks. And we also have this storm action out west as well. So keeping an eye out here on the Front Range into Texas, you'll start to see some thunderstorms developing as well. And they may not be as numerous as the storms that we're watching in the east, but they are going to be a big deal for some folks. But the main threat for severe weather stretches from, about Knoxville up through Baltimore. That moderate risk, a big deal. You don't see moderate risk every day. They're not that common. And then you don't see enhanced risk every day either, especially in August. It's a little bit unusual timing. We get typical summertime thunderstorms, that a big front like this that's causing all kinds of trouble, I would typically expect this a little bit later in the season, maybe into fall when we have our secondary fall severe weather season. So tornadoes, a big concern today, but I think the wind threat as well is an even bigger concern for me, because I think the impacts of wind, a big line of gusty winds moving through, can be just as great, if not worse, than a tornado rolling through your neighborhood. So just a heads up there. And then I'm actually going to refresh this. You can see we have severe thunderstorm watches for portions of northern Alabama into Georgia. Looks like this does include Atlanta, and then a nice chunk of Middle Tennessee here. And then we also have tornado watches, which I'm in Davidson County and near Nashville, which is where Nashville is. And we're under the tornado watch, I know for sure. And this extends up into, even as far north as southwest Pennsylvania. It includes a good chunk of Ohio, a good chunk of West Virginia. So many folks are under this watch. And how long it lasts depends on where you're at. But it looks like through the evening, 7 o'clock for the one here in Middle Tennessee. That's in Central. This one here going up through Eastern Kentucky and to West Virginia, 6 p.m. Eastern. A lot of these areas that are under the threat for severe weather, you're either in Central or Eastern time zone. So it's kind of... it's really going to depend on which watch you're under and what time zone is the predominant one where you live. But either way, this continues through the early afternoon, these watches. And then you're going to see them shift a little bit further to the east, which is the case right here. So, this area right here that's highlighted in that lighter red color, that's the moderate risk area. And it shows, a spot including Frederick, Maryland, which is where meteorologist James West is right now, and he's been keeping an eye on conditions in his area. And it's nice and sunny and beautiful, but later in the afternoon, you've got the threat of tornadoes, in fact, a higher risk than pretty much anyone else. And this stretches from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, down to Culpeper. It includes Washington, D.C., and it almost includes Baltimore, but it's pretty close. So these areas especially need to be on alert, because you've got this risk for tornadoes, for damaging winds, for pretty much anything and everything you can imagine. So we're going to be here keeping you up to date, and let me show you how. We have a hub going right now. This gives you all the links you need to kind of get what you need to know on the go. So if you want the forecast analysis from our team of expert meteorologists, it's right here up top. We've got a live blog. We've got the stream happening right now. This is me. And then we also have a weather radar feed and how to turn on your app alerts and social media. And the live blog really comes in handy as well. So we've got pretty much anything you need to know as it's happening is going to be on this live blog. You can go to weatherandradar.com if you don't have the app downloaded, but if you want to download the app, it sends you alerts straight to your phone whenever there's something severe heading your way, which is a big help. And also, it is free. We have an ad version that is free, but you can also pay to not have the ads. But, even if you go with the ad version, it gives you everything you need to know. And we've got a link for that right in the description of this video. So thank you guys so much for joining in. Hopefully this is kind of answering some of your questions. It's a big wind threat, but also in that kind of section of the mid-Atlantic is where we have the greatest tornado threat. I expect we'll see a few tornadoes, and then I also expect we'll see a lot of power outages and downed trees and big consequences of the winds. Also, if you have any flights that are going into or out of this region here, anywhere from, middle of Georgia up through New York, you need to be watching, keeping up with your airline, checking for updates, because I think this is definitely going to cause some snags when it comes to air travel. So please keep up with us. Download the Weather and Radar app or visit weatherandradar.com, and I hope you guys stay safe, and I will talk to you later. Just, remember, pay attention to those warnings and head inside, go to your safe space, and just do what you need to do to protect you